Hey, my name is Martin and I'm one of the founders of a company called Combat Ready. Our mission is to enhance the leadership culture here in Estonia and in Europe. And we have decided to do this through spreading the mindset of extreme ownership. It's a great concept developed by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin and their awesome company called Echelon Front. If you have never heard about Echelon Front, then I recommend you to go on echelonfront.com and look into some of their great content. They are doing live sessions, they have an online academy, definitely worth signing up for. They have lots of different courses and material. And this is actually one of the reasons I'm doing this video today, as they recently released video on OODA loop. Jocko and Dave Burke gave an excellent overview and introduction to OODA loop and how to implement it for every leader and team, and how OODA loop and extreme ownership are connected. I definitely don't want to start going everything again, but as I see, there are some aspects that can be added in there, and that on the part of each individual, how the OODA loop can be used for everyone, not only leaders, because as Jocko says, there are no bad teams, only bad leaders, with the caveat that everyone must be able to be a leader if needed, or become a leader. With that said, OODA loop and understanding it is crucial actually for every member. I've been giving courses on planning and how to organize a team and how to do time management. And I usually start with the OODA loop actually, because it's very important for everyone to understand how we think, how we make decisions as a team and also as individuals. If we don't do it, and if we don't understand how others think, then it's very easy to start smashing into each other's OODA loop, and it's not good for teamwork, obviously. So what I'm going to talk about today is a little bit about background firstly, and then how to implement it in time management and for each individual, and then a little bit of planning and how MDMP is connected to OODA loop. So let's start with the background and how and where OODA loop is coming from. I'm sure most of you have heard about John Boyd. I have a military background, and most of it, or a huge part of it, was from special forces. So OODA loop is famous in that environment. And it is coming from US, but me as an Estonian officer, I was learning this in Estonian Military Academy from the very early ages of my career. But when I got to the phase of my master thesis, just before becoming a major, I actually did my thesis on how to make the military decision-making process, the MDMP, how to make it more effective, how to optimize it. I found many options, and I can talk about those at some other point. But during my research in the background, or how to understand where this concept came from, I actually stumbled on a much earlier piece, all the way back in 1910. It was already written down in a very similar way. Actually by also a John, but in this case John Dewey. And John Dewey was trying to understand how a customer or a consumer makes a decision before he or she buys a product or a service. And he wrote it down in 5 points. Firstly, identification of a problem, or that the will to buy something, then collecting information, thirdly making or understanding the information, making the analysis, fourthly decision, and fifth, analyzing the outcomes. So if I compare it to the Boyd cycle or the OODA loop, how Boyd wrote it down, it's actually very similar. The first point that Dewey has, the identification of a problem, this is actually already implemented in the observe for Boyd's loop, because how he talks about it is that we are observing all the time. We are collecting information, we are looking around, we are gathering information, and most of the information doesn't actually initiate the full loop. We are just doing it on a background. Similarly, as you are doing right now, you are listening to this video, and you're going through the OODA loop even without noticing. Right now, as you're looking, you're analyzing my text, and your decision, if you could decide to stay on the video, is not to close it, which is a very good idea, I think. But coming back to the loop, the cycle can start at any moment, and just Dewey wrote it out that now that's the initiation of the loop. Then comes the collecting information part on the Dewey side, which is on the Boyd side exactly what I just talked about, observe. For Dewey, next steps were analyzing all the information collected to make the best possible decision, and then followed by the decision itself. For Boyd, these are orient and decide, so exactly the same. Boyd also added in there act, but I believe that in the Dewey's formula, the act was already implied in the decide point, because he was concentrating on the consumer, meaning that as soon as the consumer decides what he will buy, it will be followed by the actual act of buying something. Now comes the last part of Dewey, the number 5, and this is actually on the Boyd side already restarting the cycle. So of course we are analyzing the outcomes of, did I buy a right thing, did I buy it with a fair price, am I actually getting what I was hoping to get? For Boyd, this is already a new cycle. So the cycles, as soon as it finishes, it restarts again, and the whole time throughout the cycle there can be multiple cycles restarting. So with that said, I would say it's quite fair to assume that these cycles have a connection. And John Boyd himself, as much as I've read, he was actually doing a very thorough research before he started talking about this cycle and developing the whole maneuver warfare concept. So of course I don't want to take any fame away from John Boyd and the way he talked about it and the maneuver warfare concept. This is exceptional, of course, but why I'm bringing this out is that this similar, exact same pretty much cycle is actually very old, and it can be used in every field of life. So it's not only military concepts. Oftentimes I hear this, oh yeah, this is some military thing. No, it's not. This is going through our heads all the time, and it's a very simple and clear and concise explanation of how do we make decisions. With that said, it is important that now how can we use it to understand how it affects our daily life. And what should we do to avoid crashing into each other's OODA loop? For this, check out the next part of this video.